G'day, Steve Morgan here. Australian Bass Tournaments. We have just given away the 2023 Mercury Avator Bass Electric Series Grand Final prize, which consisted of this Mercury Avator electric motor and a boat to go with it. It's an Alloy Craft P395. It's got a Minn Kota at the front, a Humminbird in it. This is the man who won it, Chesley Lennon. Chesley, your average fish was over 2 kilos apiece for this weekend. Wyaralong really turned it on for you.
It certainly did, Steve. And like I said, I threw back 3 of that size yesterday and probably 4 or 5 again today.
So at springtime, Lake Wyaralong, legendarily there are some giants in here. And even though you didn't weigh like a 3 kilo fish, we saw a fish that was about 2.6 kilos come in. Yeah. Man, that average size kept it up there. The winning margin well over 2 kilograms for Chesley. So the electric series, $20 entry, a higher entry fee in the grand final, but man, 29 people fishing for a boat like this, you must be stoked.
Absolutely, stoked, not the words, yeah. It's amazing.
Tell us about your preparation for this tournament. Did you put a lot of hours in pre-fishing, or did you just rock up and work it all out on the practice day?
No, so after the Hins round, I actually went back the weekend after the Hins because I left fish there biting when I had to go and weigh in. Yep. And I went back and caught them again, which was fun. And then ever since then, every week, every Sunday, I've been up here.
Okay. Yeah. So you've definitely got rewards for the effort that you've put in. For the people that haven't been to Wyaralong, just explain how this Clearwater Lake works. Like, there's a lot of small fish, like around that legal size. There are plagues of them, but you targeted fish that were bigger than that. How was the lake set up?
In pre-fish, obviously, there were fish everywhere. Every tree from here to past the winery had fish on it, multiple fish on it. But what I was finding that they were all of it like a smaller size, and the bigger fish were individual fish or groups of 4 or 5 fish that I was targeting.
Yep. And did those fish, were they sitting on trees or were they just out in open water?
Leading up till last weekend, I was catching them on trees. So I found the bigger trees on outside of points held 2 or 3 fish. And then last weekend and then pre-fish Friday, I refined it down to and actually found them in shallower water than I've been catching them. And I was targeting wolf packs of 4 or 5 fish.
Sounds like exciting fishing. Just take us through the process of using your live sonar to find them. How would you find them, and then how would you target them?
Okay, the Garmin live scope was invaluable. I wouldn't have to drive over fish to find fish. I could see them 100 foot out in front of me. And like I was saying, I would see 2 or 3 fish just off the bottom, but I knew that there were 4 or 5 fish that were squashed to the bottom. And I would make as long a cast as I could so that the lure would get down to depth just above their heads, and that those first 2 fish that were active they would follow it first, and the 3rd or 4th fish would race off the bottom and eat it.
And then you're watching them from that far away. It must be exciting to be able to pick the hit. You see that fish charging at it. Do you stop looking at the live scope and start looking at your line?
Absolutely. But it's so addictive. It becomes addictive. Yep. Watching them, it's really cool when it happens. It's so frustrating when they swerve it and go the other way.
Yeah. So what forward-facing sonar I think does as well as show you how many fish you spook and how many fish you don't catch.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. Today, like when I was coming back in, I stopped on a set of trees, and I'd cast in, and I'd get 20 fish following it back to the boat. They just wouldn't commit. Yeah.
Take us through some of the tackle you used. You've got a lipless crankbait and a crankbait tied on there. Tell us what situations you used them in and how they got the job done for you.
Okay. What I was doing is I was going in first with the TN60 with a rattle in it. Up until this weekend, I'd been throwing silence, and then last weekend and then again pre-fish, I was throwing a rattle, and it didn't matter. The colour didn't seem to make a difference, because I swapped this one out because this was my last one yesterday. Yep. And changed to a completely different colour and still caught fish on it. So that was getting the fish excited. And then I would follow that in with a crankbait.
Yep.
And the crankbait, I could swim it a little slower, and also pause it, and it would suspend, and I'd watch the fish swim up to it, not engage it, and then as soon as I started the crank again, they would eat it. Yeah.
So allowing you to modify that retrieve to suit the individual fish, I suppose, is a big advantage. And you've just thought of in the past how many times you've screwed that up and spooked them.
Absolutely, yeah. When you got a live scope, it's night and day. Yeah, absolutely.
What crankbait's that one?
It's an OSP EXDR.
Yep, the Blitz.
The Blitz Max, or the Blitz, and again, I used multiple colours. I lost a few, not to fish but to timber. When I was throwing them around timber. But yeah, most of my fish were actually out in open water between where the timber was.
I see you use fluorocarbon on both those reels. You're a man of class. Why the fluorocarbon and not the braid? Tell all these people why they need to use it.
Two reasons. Well, a few reasons. One of them is the abrasion resistance that I get from it. I'm fishing 12 pound on all my setups straight through. It acts as an elastic band, as a shock absorber. I also use a soft rod, so the Samurai 302 is a very soft action rod. And it when they're lunging, or if I don't pull as many hooks using it, that's all. So it's got that forgiveness, and I can go lighter. So I'm fishing 12 where most guys were fishing 20. You know, the other main benefit, and one reason I use it a lot, is I've only got one knot to fail. You know,
1 point of failure.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
You'd be a good prim fisherman, you know that.
if I could get to the salt, yeah, absolutely.
So your 2 days, very similar bags in that sort of 2 kilo average fish class. Is this the best time of year to fish Wyaralong? Are those fish available all year? Are they easier to catch this time of year, or is it just all around the year you can catch them?
I actually prefer fishing here in winter. The colder the better. I find that it fishes better. This is the best bite I've experienced at this time of the year, but I haven't fished it as often. I live 2 hours away, so I don't get you as often as I should or would like to.
Well, you were a very popular champion. You definitely showed people how to get it done, and thank you very much for the Who Shares wins. A bit of a side note, Chesley winning this event in Bass Electrics, the Angler of the Year, the grand final counts towards it. So you didn't only win the grand final and the $12,000 boat, Angler of the Year is yours as well. So you took home all the hardware, mate. Poor fellas. You took it all off them. They can win it next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been on the receiving end of this too many times, so yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. We're going to take this prize boat down to the water and we'll just show you what it looks like on a lovely afternoon at Lake Wyaralong.